Good morning. Only real angles if Reading or Shrewsbury scored first yesterday. So let's take a look. No, Burstow, you've got a 0-0 at half-time in the Bolton-Reading match. You could lay the draw second half in that one if you fancied the in-play stats. Looking at the Shrewsbury match, well, the market got it spot on. We've got both teams to score yet again for Notts County. We've got the first win of the season for Notts County. Shrewsbury trouble even scoring. So if they did score first, which they didn't, that would have been our angle in. Easy as you like for Notts County. Even Dennis the Menace getting involved with the first goal. So no problem at all. A couple of dodge pots though, failing to win so far this season. There was that both teams to score element for Notts County, which suggested that the Shrews were gettable if leading. And Champions League, well, these are first legs, so you're going to expect a humdinger in the second leg. Borat's boys absolutely delighted. Sexy time away at Celtic with a 0-0. Don't know what went wrong for the boys or whether the market's grossly underestimating Kairat Almaty, who've put in some good performances against KUPS and the like. Bodo Glimt, absolutely emphatic. And the other two, 2.55 the favourite and 2.35 the favourite. 1-1, Basel and Copenhagen. Fenerbahce and Benfica, well, Benfica red card, so they survived the storm against Fenerbahce, and I think the special one would have been a little bit aggrieved not to have taken advantage. It was a 71st minute red card. You got 20 minutes at home. Goal disallowed 81st minute, so that was the avenue in for the special one, the 81st minute disallowed goal. You'd have expected them to target a home goal, particularly with a player sent off. Looking at the stats, were Benfica the dominant force throughout? Well, total shots 13-9 throughout the match. No big chances, 4 corners each, stifling each other. It looked as if yesterday, small expected goals ratio. Looking at the goalkeeper stats, which was the team that was under the most pressure? It was the away team, 6 saves to 3. So Fenerbahce were giving it the best. I don't know how many of these occurred after the red card. But this is finely poised, as is the Celtic match for the second legs. That's where we're going to be making our money. Second legs, not first. You can't read first. It's only the first half. It's not a panic for Celtic. It's not a panic for Fenerbahce or Benfica. All to play for second leg. So I think I was vindicated in not staying up till 2 a.m. just for the sake of 6 matches. Second half play, that's the only play really, Bolton and Reading match. Celtic and Kairat Almaty, depending on how late you get involved, keep your liability as low as possible. So second legs is where it's at next week for Celtic, Fenerbahce, Benfica, Basel and Copenhagen. Looking on to today and its first legs again in Europe, absolutely no research from myself today. First port of call, when we look at the short odds. Again, KUPS, done by Kairat Almaty, who retain their Champions League places, are playing a Midtjylland who do threaten goals in the Danish Super League. Again, the market might have been underestimating Midtjylland a tad here. We will soon find out. Brann, knocked out of the Champions League by Salzburg, are at home to AEK Larnaca. They're expecting to go deeper in European competitions. Malmo, another familiar name, do have home advantage against Sigma Olomouc, who are a bit of an unknown quantity. We don't know really how to gauge Malmo and Sigma's qualities. Dynamo Kiev had an awful time against Paphos. Panathinaikos had an awful time against Rangers, but they are home favourite against Samsunspor in what is a local geographical type derby, Greece against Turkey. Utrecht from the Dutch Eredivisie should be full of goals, but we don't know what Zrinski like at all. It's a complete blank canvas, this. Don't know some of the team's strengths or weaknesses, making it very difficult to play. We will know from the second leg, of course, won't we? Braga against the Lincoln Red Imps really should have a field day in front of goal. That's what I'd be expecting. But then look at the Celtic match, similar odds, 1.13, failing to score. So don't forget these are pure guesses by the market makers. They've got no form to work off. They've got no way to gauge the clubs. So some of this is just guesswork. So please bear that in mind. And in the Conference League, any familiar names? Well, they do continue. Mainz from Germany with the Bundesliga beginning at the weekend. Be worth watching them. See what kind of a mood they're in. Hacken and Cluj is very difficult. Two familiar names from leagues we've been trading, but very difficult to unpack. It looks a more difficult coupon than the Conference League, doesn't it? A lot of 2.3 the favourites. Bazakse here, sport odds on favourite against University Craiova. Readable against San Marino time, Virtus, 1.07 odds. Are they going to translate those odds into goals? Can we trust an Icelandic side? That is le question. Moving on down, AZ Alkmaar, 1.67 favourites. Do they have goals in them against Levski Sofia? Rayo Vallecano, Spanish league about to begin. Playing aside from Belarus, realistically, they should be bringing those odds at 1.18 home, shouldn't they? But we don't know the strengths or weaknesses of Neman. Could be an ultra defensive unit. Don't forget, they are away from home, Raya. So it's no panic, Mr. Manwing. We got the second leg at home. So if they don't convert, as Celtic didn't convert, then they've got the second leg with home advantage. Celtic do not. Celtic are away in the second leg. They've shot themselves in the foot a little by failing to score. But let's see whether that 1.18 shot will do the job, Rayo Vallecano. Familiar name. Noah, our old pals, Park the Ark. 600-year-old manager doing a great job. Must have a very big beard as well. So he has to keep that beard out of the technical area, along with his animals that he brings with him to Olympic Ljubljana this afternoon. And we've got Fiorentina from the Italian Serie A. The Serie A season about to begin at the weekend. The Viola, playing a Ukrainian side. We don't know much about these Ukrainian sides because we haven't been able to trade their leagues. Similar story with Shakhtar Donetsk, 1.36 home favourite against Servette from Switzerland, who could be anything, couldn't they? We don't know how to gauge the qualities of either side. Sparta Prague, well known in the Czech Republic, playing Riga from Latvia, and honestly, you should be getting the better of a Latvian side. Lots of odds on favourites you'll see, particularly in the Conference League today. Strasbourg against France, French League 1 is up and running. Playing the Danes, Brøndby. Jagiellonian Białystok, we know from the Polish League, but we don't know much about Dinamo Tirana's strengths or weaknesses either. Besiktas getting the best out of St. Patrick's, or getting the worst out of St. Patrick's. It was a great second leg. They are playing a Swiss side, and 2.1 tentative favourites. And I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has enough experience in Europe either for Besiktas to be reliable. Shelbourne against Linfield. It's a local derby. Ireland against Northern Ireland. You'd be favouring the Republic side, wouldn't you? And Crystal Palace are out against Fredrikstad from Norway. 1.11 favourites, Crystal Palace. Watch out for team news. They've got another London derby at the weekend. They've yet to win in the Premier League. So they're fighting on two fronts. Watch out for team news. We might see the Europa League and the manager use squad players or players he wants to have a look at for a Europa League push, particularly against apparent weaker oppositions. Tell that to Celtic, 1.13 Celtic, 0-0 against Kayra Almaty. 1.11 Crystal Palace, what are they going to do against Fredrikstad? Well, if you can score 2 against Liverpool, you can score 2 against Fredrikstad, that's for sure. Hibernians of Scotland, 2.75 the favourite against Legia Warsaw. And another side from Poland, Rakow against Arda, 1.22 home favourites. We've got a lot of confident markets, don't we, today? Santa Clara favourite against Shamrock Rovers. You'd expect that. They lost at the weekend, Santa Clara. It was an insurance play. 0-1. It ended. They were the dominant force in their domestic league match, but obviously having this one in mind. And that's the only competitions. If you go to soccer24.com, you can scroll down to look at the competitions in alphabetical order. And if there is a competition you want to be following, just click on the pin and it will take it to the top. So this is going to be the same as yesterday, really. I haven't got a clue pre-match what's going to happen. I acknowledge that these are first legs. So, example, Celtic Kairat Almaty, it's 0-0 at half time. That's the way you look at it. So Celtic know they must win the second half at Kairat Almaty. That's going to be a tough task. But you look at the market, I wonder if the market's going to be as sweet on Celtic as it was yesterday. The ones I've starred are the teams that I know and the teams that I will assume will be dominant in their matches. But as I repeat, this is only the first leg. It doesn't matter if it's a draw at half time. Ideally, the home side would like to win the home legs, of course, if they're first. But the likes of AZ Alkmaar will have the firepower at home in the second leg to put Levski Sofia to bed if Levski Sofia are competitive. Got fabulous matches like Anderlecht, AEK Athens. That's a tough one to unpack. So I'll see members of Football Trading Profits today from 5 p.m. Not expecting much from Rosenborg and Mainz, but arguable a Bundesliga side should have too much for an elite Serie A side, shouldn't they? But yet to play any matches, Mainz. I'll see members of footballtradingprofits.com on Telegram from 5 p.m. As you can see, we've got a bigger sample to work off today. They are first legs, so do not expect me to go trade crazy. We've got league football beginning or returning on Friday. Got a lot more angles. We've got newly promoted Vukovar. We've got West Ham and Chelsea. We've got another London derby. We had a Chelsea whose in-play stats were pretty good in their opening London derby. So once Chelsea get the London derbies out of the way, you should see the real Chelsea, I would suggest. They're masked a little by the competitive nature of these London derbies. Championship derby in Bristol City. Don't have a clue with this one. Premier League 2 and Professional Development League. Now, don't automatically assume they're all over 2.5 goals, but this is the general vibe. This is what you're going to see. So we're going to be looking at 2.5 goal strategies soon. Ideas, at least wait 15 minutes. Try to get a 0-0 at 15 minutes. Part of your 2.5 goal strategy, look for a goal before half time. If you just get the 1 goal before half time, you will break even. We had a look at the 2.5 goal strategy last year, where I had an idea of backing over 2.5 goals, laying over 1.5 goals. Then the only way we would lose would be those scorelines in the middle, like the 1-1s, the 2-0s, the 0-2s. That's the in-between scorelines. So you've got plenty of ideas for 2.5 goal trading. If you've got any yourself, leave them in the comments. It's nice to hear from one or two of you at the YouTube page. So nice and busy. Premier League 2, Professional Development League. You can practice your 2.5 goal strategy in this league. You can do it looking at previous matches as well. Entry points. So if you want to practice the Professional Premier League 2, Professional Development League, look at the matches the day after in retrospect. So it looks like the season has just begun. We can go to this match, for example. That was a 1-0, but it's all dependent, if you wanted over 2.5 goals, on when the goal was scored. For example, here, if you laid over 2.5 goals and laid over 1.5 goals, that would have produced a marginal gain or a break even. If you're entering 2.5 goals second half, that would have been a perfectly timed goal to get that up and running for a trade. Would you be waiting for the second or third goals in this Middlesbrough Man United match? It's a tricky one, isn't it? If you're a 2.5 goal player, do you play first half or do you play second half? 2.5 goals as well. You can get your cues from the market when the market is accurate. It might not be accurate in European first legs, as you saw yesterday, markedly so with Celtic. But if you mix in the fact that these are Professional Development League and Premier League 2 are leagues for over 2.5 goals, and once you get the odds, check what the market thinks. Don't forget anything 1.3 or lower, the market's expecting one team on their own to score 2 or 3 goals. So that could be, or those could be the matches to focus on. Or are you going to wait for 0-0s at half time? Are you going to wait for nil-nils after 20 minutes. So have a think. Do you have a 2.5 goal strategy? Do you have an entry point? Do you have an exit point? Is your exit point on the hour mark, for example? How long are you going to tolerate a 1-0 in a 2.5 goal trading match? Lots of questions. It's all about the choice of match, isn't it? Let's make sure we get a good choice. That PSG Angers, for example, 1.08 is telling you there's going to be goals, isn't it? 1.25 is suggesting 3 or more goals from Bayern Munich themselves. 1.27 Bohemians is suggesting a 2.5 goal match, isn't it? So if you marry that kind of information with the league's reputation, then you're on a winning footing. Got the fotmob.com. This will be useful for the second leg. As you can tell, there's no first leg scoreline here. So these are second leg, first leg scoreline. So the second legs, this website, fotmob.com, will be very useful. It will have the first leg scorelines in brackets, which is very, very helpful because that's how we trade these European fixtures. We trade the aggregate scorelines, which we did quite successfully in the last round. So I'll see members of footballtradingprofits.com from 5 p.m. today in what could be a quiet evening. Got to be very cautious. You see how wrong they got some of the markets yesterday. In-play stats will play an important part here. Just be careful. The likes of Paphos, for example, surprising us with Red Star Belgrade with their defensive strength, and the market getting Red Star Belgrade woefully wrong as well. So we've got to be very careful. Braga, Mietland, Bran, et al. See members of Football Trading Profits from 5 p.m. and I look forward to seeing you this weekend for a much busier, much improved coupon.